What's going on, everybody? Today's video, we're going to be working on the GT350. I don't quite have like a one specific agenda for this video. If you watched my last video, or if you haven't seen it, you want to hear me complain about how much I don't like this car, I'll put a tag of it right up here. There's just a bunch of electrical issues on this car, which I kind of knew getting into buying this car. That's kind of why I got a deal on it. So I don't really know how to start this one off. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the stuff I've figured out since last race, some of the stuff I got, and kind of hopefully we all kind of learn something. So if I say something, or if you have any input, you know, at this point, you know, a lot of people know more than I do if there's like common issues with these things. Or if I, you know, say something wrong, feel free to correct me. But yeah, we're going to just kind of jump into some random stuff and go from there. So first order of business is the ABS sensor. It stopped working and it was reading like 200 and something miles an hour. So I pulled the old one off. I did do a resistance test across it along with the side, the left-hand side, which I know is good. This one was reading a little bit higher, but not much, but still a little bit higher than the new one. So I don't know, maybe could be it, but you know, I'm not crossing my fingers on that one. So, you know, the ABS issue, I learned a bunch of stuff about either holding the traction control button to kind of completely disable traction control, because I had a weird spin in turn 11 last time I was there. I went over my data and the car had less G-forces on it, but somehow it spun, but the spin was the lap after like everything started like freaking out. You know, there were some comments where how they thought I disabled the traction control but then spun, but then blamed the car, but I didn't disable it. It just kind of stopped working and then I spun. So anyways, then there were some misfire codes, so I got some coil packs. I'm gonna do spark plugs just because I don't know when they were done. I got a cylinder 5 and a cylinder 7, but I also got forescan. We'll jump into forescan in a second, and was looking in that. That's pretty neat. But the misfire code, oh, this is kind of neat. I picked up a durometer tester. And basically that little needle on the bottom, when you push it on rubber, it lets you know the durometer of the rubber. So these are our front tires and these are our rears. You can see the rears are, you know, a little more worn out. And just from the fingernail test, I knew I was like feeling that the back tire was harder, which could also lead to a reason for the spin. You know, you got more grip up front and harder tires in the rear. Even though they're the same tire, I think these are just older. So if we put this on, and we'll pick a spot that like don't hit like a rock or anything. Looks like 75, it jumped up to maybe a little over 75, 76 or so. And if we jump to the rear tire, ready? 85, 86. Let's do another spot out here. Another 84 or so. So the rear tires are quite a bit harder than the front tires. Obviously not an ideal setup. It's the last event of the year. I'm not going to buy new tires for one event. Next year, what I'm probably going to do is go to a square setup. My initial goal is to run Grid Life and GTA Street Class with this. A little bit of weirdness in the rules is the one uses a spec Yokohama, the Aero 52, I believe, in 295. But then the other series only allows a 285, but tire choice is open, which is a little bit annoying because now I need two sets of tires and rims. So I'll cross that bridge when I get this thing geared up for next season. So yeah, let's jump into forescan real quick. Kind of some neat stuff on there. There's plenty of videos online going over forescan, how to get it, how to hook it up, you know, what cable to use, all that stuff. I'm kind of looking at it more of a performance tool / diagnostics tool. you do have to buy a cable. Let's see, I ended up getting this one right here. I'll put a link to this cable in the video below. That is the exact one that Forescan themselves recommends. Alright, so now that I'm in, I did reset all the codes using this button down here because I had the ABS sensors off, unplugged. There was a whole bunch of stuff, so I just cleared everything. The only one that came back up is this camera module. Doubt that has much to do with ABS or traction control, but at the moment I let the car run for a few minutes. Nothing else popped up. So anyways, so now that I have Forescan, I can bring the laptop with me to the track, and you know, if something happens, hopefully I can kind of like look into the car and maybe figure it out at the track. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff over time, so we'll probably see more of the Forescan stuff. You can also do stuff where, like, if you don't want the dome light to come on, you can tell the computer to like disable that, or if you want to change the lights, see how they're on right now? You can go in there and say, hey, don't leave the lights on when I'm like out of the car or whatever. So you can change a bunch of stuff. So anyways, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look into the misfire codes. Didn't come back up, but the car was only running a couple of minutes. So yeah, I'm going to kind of spend a little time tinkering around with this and pick up once I get done a few things. All right, so enough with the electrical systems and misfire stuff. Another thing I was tinkering around on this car is, you can see I 3D printed a brake duct. I have the spacing a little bit wrong because when I turn it ended up clipping here, so I got to modify this 3D print. You can see I'm already on version 7 of this thing. So rather than just like a small flat plate, you can see that's all the bigger that one is there, with some shape to it. I hope this kind of comes out. But as the air comes like under the splitter tunnel and hits this little ramp on the top here will end up getting more air into like the rotor hat through the center of the rotor, rather than just like the flat one just throws the air backwards. You know, a little bit can slip underneath and make it to like the spindle or the hub, but so they will obviously be not 3D printed, but I'll make a mold of that and turn them into carbon fiber. So, if anybody has any interest in that. So that's something I'm working on. I got a couple other ideas of stuff I'm working on. Oh, canards. Definitely going to be doing canards soon. A splitter. I still don't know. I'll probably do like 2 versions. A splitter that kind of attaches, just something a little bit bigger that attaches to that around like the factory holes or something, and then I'll probably do like a huge one that's like the whole, replace the whole under tray and everything with larger splitter tunnels and everything, so that'll make a lot more downforce. So yeah, just some stuff I'm working on this thing, and I'm always looking for input. Like I said, being new to this chassis, don't really know like what these things are missing, or what do people want. So comment below if there's something that you guys have been looking for, or what's out there just isn't quite, up to par for what you guys want. So, always looking for ideas. If you have fuel jugs, because I use this obviously primarily for the race car, these capless fuel systems, everybody is familiar with these things that fit in there. This one's out of the new truck. You can see they put like a little ridge in it, so you can't even like jab that thing in there. This is the one out of the Mustang. You can see is open, but still a high chance of like spillage. So on my mini lathe, I turned down one of these things to the exact diameter to fit in there like that. So what I do, pop that off. This fits in there like that. Might be a little bit large, but then once it's in, put it in, fits just like a regular, fuel nozzle, and you just go. There you go. Just poured that whole 5 gallon, didn't spill a single drop, and you're set. And one of the last things I'm going to do is soften up the rear sway bar going back to the tires, having less grip in the rear, softening the rear sway bar. That could be almost a video in itself about like the, you know, chassis dynamics and weight transfers, but softening the rear bar just lets the rear kind of roll a little more weight onto it, which will give the rear a little more grip than the front. So I pulled the whole entire end link off because as you can see, I got the thread chaser on it. Because you can see the hole on the end is a little bit, you know, stripped out somewhere along the way. Somebody stripped it, and the threads are a little bit jacked up. So I gotta chase the threads. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to get this like on and off again. You can see where I had to grab onto this back part. Another thing I might do is throw it in the mill, put some like flats on this round metal bit, or just buy a set, or you know, just order some rod ends and kind of make my own adjustable end links. What I'm gonna do now, put that end link back on, make sure everything's buttoned up, put all the tires back on, get it on the ground, and drive it up and down the street a little bit. You know, see if I can get that misfire to come back, or if it only happens like under load or something. And then in the gravel driveway, I can just slam on the brakes, see if the ABS works. So yeah, let me kind of do that and see what we end up with after that. So I got my camera holder with me. I guess
I don't look very good today.
did light up somewhere around the top a second. Alright, so that pulled fine. No check engine lights. Go try the ABS in the grass. I heard it.
And chickens.
And chickens. So now, what I want to do is, if you hold this, apparently, oh, there it goes. So advanced track off. Oops. Okay, well, yeah, now it's off. Hold on. What's the difference between that? Advanced track on. Traction control off. On. But if you hold it, it says advanced. Oh, okay. So it is different. Interesting. This is brand new information to me. This is brand new information. Alright. Let's see if ABS still works.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I heard it. I think the grass is nice and wet.
Hey guys.
You want to do a donut around the hay bale?
I do.
We're going to rip up the grass though. Whee!
Oh, God.
Was that traction control kicking in? I don't know what that was. People right now are probably cringing, doing donuts in the grass with a GT350. I still feel the traction control kicking in.
Oh my God.
You know what's funny? Like, the tires are so bald.
The grass
Like,
is wet
I'm not
too.
even, yeah, and the grass is wet. I'm not even like ripping up the grass. It's actually kind of fun.
It smells like onions though.
It does smell
Can
like
you smell the onions?
Yeah. And I'm trying to do a close one around the hay bale. kicking in. Let's see if it interferes a lot more. Oh my goodness, I can like barely even... Oh, there we go. You know what's funny? I'm giving it like as much gas as I can.
We're just driving in circles.
Yeah. Wow, that's okay. Interesting. It was just the button. Advanced track on. Traction control off. Let's try that out.
Yeah.
Whoops. I'll move this one in. It's definitely more invasive than... Got it. Oh boy. That's wild. It like still kicks in. This is funny. Look, I'm not even ripping up the grass. Alright, but ABS still works. Okay. Huh. Well, that's kind of cool. Now what do you want to do? Yeah, let me, I'm going to hook up the forescan. What's so funny?
The what? You're not supposed to do that on camera.
What are you? What am I hooking up? The forescan?
Forescan.
Alright, thank you to my lovely camera lady. I'm gonna hook up the forescan. No check engine light and no ABS, permanent ABS lights.
Are we done?
I'm done with you. Get out of here.
Have fun with your foreskin.
So yeah, let's plug that back in and see if anything pops up. But yeah, that pull down the street, the thing pulled great. ABS on the stones and the grass was kicking in. Felt the difference between no traction control. I'm sorry, advanced track on, traction control off, and advanced track off. I do want to try the the have fun at the track plug behind the air filter. I think some other people call it the dyno plug. You're supposed to unplug that to, I think, get rid of traction control, but they say ABS works. So anyways, let's keep tinkering. That was actually kind of fun doing donuts in the grass. This rear rotor is actually really hot. I'm not sure, you should be able to like hear it and maybe even like feel it, but the rear ABS, even with holding the traction control button off in wet grass, it was still like, the whole car was like bouncing from the rear brakes, you know, clicking. So even though I only did, you know, 2 or 3 actual ABS like stops, doing all those donuts, they were still working pretty hard. What I want to do right now is the dyno plug is this plug right here. I'm going to unplug this and go do some more donuts, because even with the traction control button held, that's supposed to completely disable any nannies, and it definitely was not. Now granted, I had to get like extra sideways in the wet grass for it to kick in. So I'm going to unplug that and see if that actually completely disables them, but the ABS still works. So yeah, I'll do that and see what we get. Alright guys, there is a definite difference between holding the traction control button to turn the advanced track off versus undoing that plug I showed you a second ago by the airbox. Undoing that plug by the airbox, there's no nannies kicking in at all, where holding the traction control button, it seems like it lets you get sideways if the steering wheel is still turned, but if you counter steer, you feel it like kick in or something. I was trying to get it to like do both, but there's a definite difference. But I also kind of did like a straight line brake like into the grass from, I don't know, 20, 25 miles an hour. And you can still feel the ABS kicking in with that plug unhooked. So it seems like, you know, the rumors online are pretty much true, where undoing that plug completely disables any traction control nannies, but keeps the ABS. That's my initial thought after, you know, doing a bunch of donuts and stops in the wet grass. Alright, so I got a bunch of stuff, and the check engine light right there did pop on at some point, because this is new. Where is it? This 307, which, funny enough, is cylinder 7. So I know it's not a coil because I swapped coils. If we go to this one, test, let's redo the mode 6 test. Alright, there you go. Misfire general data. Cylinder 2, 3, 4, 5, cylinder 6, cylinder 7, right here. This 149 counts of misfires. So I can rule out the coil since I swapped them between 6 and 7, so it didn't follow the coil. So something in the wiring harness. I'll have to look into that one a little bit more. This video was kind of just like a, you know, I'm tinkering with this thing more, some parts I have planned, what I'm figuring out. If anybody has any input, please comment below on anything. I think that's where we're going to wrap this one up. So as always guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.